Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Under One Roof podcast. I'm here at Fifth Color Studios with Ashley and Pat.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
All right, let's dive into it.
What's a better partnership than avocados and football? Avocados From Mexico returns to the Super Bowl this year, and this time they're using a new agency. This resurgence comes at a great time as the big game coincides with the heaviest avocado consumption of the year. So this year, the produce marketer will run a 30-second ad produced by Lerma, a Dallas-based agency that's done work with other brands but have never done a Super Bowl commercial before. But this is actually Avocados From Mexico's 7th time hitting the screen during the Super Bowl. And interestingly, Avocados From Mexico is actually a nonprofit organization. Never knew that. And they promote two of their founding organizations. So it is reported that Avocados From Mexico will tap into QR codes as part of the campaign, which will be in store with their big game guac showdown. That is a promotion featuring Deion Sanders and Tracy Edmonds. They partnered with the organization to create their favorite recipes, and shoppers can vote for their favorites in January by scanning the QR codes found on the in-store displays. And Avocados From Mexico will extend the brand experience from consumers' TV screens to an interactive digital activation to be launched weeks before the game. So I'm curious your thoughts. This is Lerma's debut. What works for this campaign and what should they keep in mind for their success?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was interesting reading all of the notes and kind of reading about this campaign that's to come. It's a lot of, speculation at this point, but I love the approach. I think arguably one of the most important jobs that we have as a marketer is to learn from our past ads and kind of then evolve on it in this ever-changing world. So Avocados From Mexico, last Super Bowl ad was in 2020. Since then, thanks to the COVID pandemic, shoppers have increasingly turned to these online platforms to make these purchases in their grocery stores. So I think it's so important for a campaign or an organization like this to change their campaign and evolve with the world. Additionally, their strategy is working to kind of blur the lines between marketing the brand and driving sales. And, as we know, the up and coming generation doesn't like ads. They don't want to be sold to. So kind of making it more about the lifestyle is super important. So lots of things in the works here, but.
Yeah, I think it's really great that they're tapping into something that'll get you active and like actually making your guacamole during the game because of these recipes. And really one thing to keep in mind is just how big the Super Bowl is for avocados. It's actually the time of the year that is the biggest for avocado consumption, which is wild. So roughly 250 million pounds of avocados will be shipped from Mexico to the U.S.
That's insane.
For the game. Yeah. And that's actually the length of nearly 361,000 football fields if they're placed end to end. So
oh my God.
So many avocados.
Wow. Who's the target audience for avocados?
Could be anyone.
You think so?
Yeah.
I feel like it's babies, maybe.
Well, that's what I mean. From babies to 25-year-old girls to, I don't know.
Where I grew up at, there was, I guess guacamole, but I don't remember ever having an avocado. I don't think I saw an avocado until I got to college.
Yeah, I think that is interesting. In my opinion also, like I really didn't try an avocado until college either.
Yeah,
so.
I really didn't eat. God, I was such a picky kid though. I didn't eat guacamole because it was green and I thought it looked gross.
Yeah.
It's like gross. My dad's like, just try it. Finally, tried it when I was older and loved it, of course, because how can you not? But it's actually interesting, Pat, that you asked that because one of my notes is that this campaign seems like they're really shifting their focus to capturing consumer data and figuring out who these consumers are. So it's a growing portion of Avocado From Mexico's funding, and I actually found that it now makes up 30% of its media buy, going towards these digital efforts intended to gather data and insights on their consumers who either buy or might be convinced to buy avocados from Mexico. So super important to them.
Yeah, so they actually, speaking of the data-driven piece of it, so they created something called the House of Goodness in this strategy, and it's actually like a actual space that's all avocado branded, and they're really using this to blend brand brand and performance metrics together, and they're calling it brandformance, which I think is really interesting. So each social and digital ad in this house of goodness is a portal to purchase avocados. And they're working with an e-commerce software called Micmac, and they'll receive a detailed view of consumers who are driven to purchase through this house of goodness, and they'll get psychographic information, demographic information, and even behavioral information, which is really interesting.
Wow.
Very powerful.
Yeah, I really love their campaign ads. Right now, some of their videos that they have on YouTube are kind of favoring with like the Game of Thrones and the House of Dragons. So a lot of people that are into those series kind of understand, like the medieval type of like, representing a house, representing like a family, and they kind of like do a spinoff in those commercials. So once those commercials start to hit, like obviously the Super Bowl is going to be here in February. You got the NBA All-Star game. So once those commercials start to rev up, I think it's going to become even more popular with that style of, ad.
One thing I thought was funny when you mentioned like the 4 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl is when they import all these avocados. It's just like this big push, all this stuff. I'm like, I don't need a party to make guacamole.
No.
Like, I will just make it for myself every night.
No, I know. And it's interesting because so there's such a difference of avocados from Mexico.
Yes.
If they're not from Mexico, they're just not as good. And you can tell. You can tell the difference. So it's like, can we get avocados all year round from Mexico?
Right, I know.
Please?
I also didn't know in my research, I didn't know avocado was a fruit. I guess it makes sense, like when they're like, oh, if there's a seed or I don't know the rules, but like I guess it made the pit or whatever.
Should definitely be a crime that it's labeled a fruit.
Yeah.
For sure. Another thing I like about that is like they're trying to encourage people to make their own guacamole, which I think is key to drive their sales.
Yeah.
Like
it's key to good guacamole.
Yeah, that too.
Unless it's like from like an authentic like restaurant, but the store-bought stuff.
I think they're trying to show people like it's okay to make your own guac.
Yeah.
And right there is just like a crazy sales tactic because you're just like, okay, this is the cheaper way and it's not that hard. It's really hard to mess up guacamole. Like you'd actually have to try. So if you can't make guacamole, it's you, not the guac. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. That's one dirty soda, Santa, said Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan is the new face of Pepsi's holiday campaign for Pilk, which is the combination of Pepsi and milk, for those of you who don't know. Pepsi is promoting this unusual concoction after the sweet and creamy drink kind of went viral on TikTok recently. The dirty soda puts a spin on milk and cookies, traditionally left out for Santa Claus the night before Christmas morning. So the campaign features a 30-second ad where Santa quietly makes a glass of Pilk on Christmas Eve. And then Lindsay Lohan is kind of in the living room and enjoying this drink by the fireplace with a good Christmas vibes all around her. So additionally, Pepsi is pushing this Pilk and cookies, this hashtag challenge, offering cash rewards to people who post their homemade Pilk concoction through Christmas Day. So there's like a little, competition, if you will. Interestingly enough, this mixture has been traced back to memes in 2020, making its first appearance in pop culture right around then. So what do you guys think of this campaign, and would you try this drink?
Ooh, it would be tough to get me to try this drink. I do think it's interesting, though, because a similar drink has been around for a while. According to Desert News, a dirty soda actually started appearing in 2010 when someone mixed Diet Coke, coconut syrup, fresh lime, and half. So it had a little bit different mix in it. But yeah, it's been around for a while. So there is somewhat of a market for it. How big that is, I'm not sure. But I think it's definitely something that will catch people's attention.
Yeah, I think it's a crazy sale. I'm sorry. You're taking two things that, people are finding out is not good for you and combining them, which is like soda, which we've known for like the past 20 years. Like, okay, we should start to, people are venturing into diet sodas. People are trying to get into seltzers now, like water seltzers. Then you take whole milk. And then you add it to.
Doesn't have to be whole.
So
it's your choice. Your choice.
So to slim it down, I do Diet Pepsi and oat milk.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Skinny Pilk.
Skinny Pilk.
Oh, no.
Oh God. But I do think marketing wise, I think is really good. So like to take two things, because you're either going to be very intrigued by it or like me, very disgusted by it. Then you sprinkle Lindsay Lohan, which like, you know, everybody's been wondering where Lindsay Lohan has been.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right?
that was my next question. I said, okay, the drink is trending, and it leads me to my next question: why Lindsay Lohan? And that's a great point. We're all kind of wondering.
I think I have pretty good reasoning for it. So I looked up Pepsi's target audience, and according to Start.io, the target audience of Pepsi is around 15 to 45 years old. And Mean Girls,
That young? Wow.
Yeah,
15.
Okay.
Mean Girls came out in 2004, so 18 years ago. Anyone who's currently 45 would have been about 27 during the time.
Okay.
So totally relevant to them for
Yep.
Mean Girls. And obviously, Mean Girls is still a cult favorite.
Yep.
So anyone who's 15 knows the movie,
Yep.
knows Lindsay.
Wow.
So I think it is pretty relevant to have her in this campaign.
Definitely.
I don't want to downplay that research right there. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a really good job.
Thanks.
Wow, that's
And-
amazing.
I don't know if you guys fully watched the. Well, so yes, so I love that theory. Also, Lindsay Lohan just starred in a newly released Christmas movie. It's just on Netflix. It's probably one of those really cheesy ones, but it's called Falling for Christmas. I did watch it. I thought it was one of the better, cheesy ones, but not bad. But love the Mean Girls theory, and that's actually I had notes on that too. And one thing I noticed in the commercial, you guys, she's dressed like she was in the Jingle Bell scene. In the Jingle Bell Rock scene, and it totally took me back to that iconic like moment and scene, and I was like immediately, obviously I know who Lindsay Lohan is, but like it just brings you back to that moment of when she was young and in that movie. And I don't know, and it's actually a tactic that we're seeing a lot this holiday season from other marketers and other brands, including HelloFresh's meal kit is inspired by Elf, also an iconic movie that everyone younger than me to older than me would know. So interesting tactic that they're taking.
Yeah, I think all these holiday ads are really smart with bringing back familiar faces, because that's all you really want to see on the holidays. It's something that makes you comfortable and something that can make you and your if you and your mom point at the TV at the same time, like, oh look, it's like that bonding moment that we both know who's on the TV, who's on that commercial. So, just for us even discussing putting milk and Pepsi with us three and the way we eat is like crazy. So they're doing a good job, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It kind of stops you, makes you look at it, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm excited to see how many people actually try it after this.
Should we try it?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Should we try it?
You should try it.
You should definitely.
Why me?
Someone's got to be behind the camera.
Wow. Wow. Okay, I'll try it. I'll try it. Maybe we'll add it here. But if we're going to the next scene, that means I did not try it. Okay, we're all getting ready for the college football playoff. Okay, so usually, the 4 teams that usually make the bowl games, which play in 2 bowl games to reach a championship. But what most people don't know is that there's 4 other games that usually rotate, and they're different brands. Just to name a couple: Chick-fil-A, Capital One, and others. So, and Dr. Pepper is the biggest one that always gets the national championship game. So as I was going through these games, I realized some of these names have been around for a long time. Some of these names have changed. Now, I kind of have something else I want to say, but I want to go to Megan's story really, really quick, because I think her story is really, really intriguing about how she looked at bowl games and some of the bowl games she found.
Yeah. So I was really excited when you brought up this topic, because I think the bowl game names are so funny, and I do notice them, but I think I take like time to think about them and notice them. But needless to say, before I got here, I did a test, sample size of 1, did it on myself, and I tried to name the sponsors of bowl games off the top of my head. The only one I got right was Capital One. And it's because Capital One used to have their own bowl, like not one of the big ones. It was just the Cap One Bowl. Now I know it's the Capital One Orange Bowl, but back when it was the Cap One Bowl, I actually went to it when I was really young. I want to say like 8 years old, when Wisconsin played in it. They played Auburn down in Orlando. We went to Disney, made like a whole winter little trip out of it. Super fun, but that's the only reason I knew it. I've been to 3 Rose Bowls in California. I could not tell you who the sponsor was at any time. Like I don't know. I don't know.
I actually still don't know who's the sponsor. Maybe it's just the Rose Bowl, because that's sometimes
it is like iconic.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes like like when I was looking up the bowl game, sometimes the name, it depends on what name had it before. Like the Fiesta Bowl is now the VRBO, which is an Airbnb company.
Yep.
It's the VRBO Fiesta Bowl, but it used to be the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah.
And it used to make so much sense, and now I can't get Tostitos out. So I wonder if like Tostitos is just like, hey, we're already engraved in your head. We don't need to have this bowl game
we've got
anymore.
this forever. We have this locked in.
Good luck with the VRBO.
Right.
Like, so I think about that, and I just think about, with all these bowl games, what are they truly marketing? Like, does that affect you? Like, I've been to the Little Caesars Bowl, which is hosted at Ford Field from my hometown, Detroit, Michigan. So does Little Caesars now, like, I feel like I'm a part of Little Caesars, and that does affect me a little bit. Like, Little Caesars feels like Detroit, feels like home. If I see a Little Caesars, it feels like my comfort place.
Interesting.
So will that affect you, Ashley, if you're watching a game and it's like the bowl game or something is the major sponsor? Does that become comfortable for you, the fact that you feel like they can afford all of this sponsorship, and someone says, oh, you're looking for a new credit card, and be like, are you going to pick Capital One? Because
I find comfort in it. I think it's smart on their end. Maybe not for the consumer, but I think it's smart on their end, because, I mean, you say, so yeah, I can't really name the bowl games, but that's because they're always changing, and it's like a one-time thing, maybe not. But they're still, at the end of the day, getting advertised as, the new era Pinstripe Bowl. Like, they're still getting their name written on everything, every sign, every poster, every piece of clothing that gets bought at that game. It says New Era on it. Like, that's got to be big for a brand. You mentioned Little Caesars. I went to Red Wings game, and it's like I'm walking into Little Caesars Arena. It's forever. It's just that's the name of it. We still can't get Miller Park out of our head.
Right.
Yeah.
American Family Field. No, it's Miller Park. So it's like, I don't know. I think there's benefits for brands. I know it's a lot of money. I don't know the return that they would see, but I think it's still like, anytime your brand is getting said out loud or put on a piece of clothing, it's a positive thing. It's,
right.
Yep.
And from the sounds of it, like what we're saying, it sounds like the longer that they are actually a sponsor and the consistency of their sponsorship, the better. Because if it changes up, then you're like, oh, wait, what is it again?
Yes.
Similar to like fields and stuff. Like now AmFam Field, no one says that.
Right.
Yeah, but the next generation will.
That's true.
Right? So eventually, it's going to take a while. It's going to take about like 5-6 years, maybe even more, for that to like actually change, and for the next generation to be like, what is Miller Park? So I totally understand that, but I get some iconic places. You're right, like the Rose Bowl is just like don't know what's in front of it. Like
it's like the Rose Bowl presented by brand. Couldn't tell you. Went to 3 of them. Couldn't tell you a single time what they were.
Yeah, like like Lambeau. Do they even have a major sponsor?
They have a bunch. Like I go in the Quick or the Fleet Farm gate. Others go in the Quick Trip gate.
Yeah, I feel like Lambeau is a little bit more local.
The Oneida Nation gate. Yeah.
Wow.
All the gates. There used to be a Shopco gate. R.I.P.
Oh,
Shopco.
That's really good marketing, though.
Yeah.
To be named after a gate.
Yeah.
And someone to be looking you up. I feel like all these brands do a good job with like arena. Having their names on arenas, hosting, like Staples Center's not Staples Center anymore. It's Crypto Arena for where the Los Angeles Lakers and the Clippers play. So like little stuff like that, I feel like can drive that in your head. Now if I ever get into crypto, I'm going to be like, oh, the only one I know is,
what it's named after. Yeah.
That word. So I feel like base level, I feel like some of this marketing stuff for us sucks to talk about because we're in the world and we understand what's trying to happen to us. So sometimes I really like want to get inside the brains of someone who, might be a firefighter or a police officer who like they're not in our world and they just get these ads in their head and subconsciously they're going to buy it. But with us, we're just like, we understand how brands work. We understand. So it just sucks for us that we can't get tricked.
Yeah. It's kind of subconscious. It is funny, though, you talk about like maybe having consequences. Like when the Packers transition to online, like on your digital tickets. It let's just say the first game was rough. This was last year, or maybe the year before. Really rough. We got a lot of people trying to figure out, well, so where do I download my ticket? Okay, they're stepping to the side. The people are trying to get people to. It took forever to get into to the stadium. So both through security is always a hot mess. Through security and the tickets, it took like so long to get into the stadium. And for some reason, the Fleet Farm gate was like even slower than everyone else. Now it's like, oh no, you don't go on the Fleet Farm gate. That is nope, that's a bad place to be. You got to go over to the Quick Trip gate. It's so funny now. It's like, oh, everyone's just bashing Fleet Farm like for the gate. They have nothing to do with
some of these bowl games. Obviously, it's about pricing, right? The lower the bowl. So if you get 2 6-win teams, which you need to qualify to be in a bowl game, that's the lowest possible bowl game you can get. So I wonder if. I just want to know that process. Like, do they fight over players? Obviously, they usually get they usually say, oh, you get the 5 seed from this conference and 6 seed from this conference, and you have to go. I wonder if they root for teams to lose, to be like, man, hope this quarterback loses because he's really popular and people are going to watch our bowl game.
Here's my issue with it. There's 43 games right now. Like, starting with the Bahamas Bowl on December 17th and ending in the college football playoff, which we print for, super cool, on January 9th. So we are crowding the market. And that's my issue with it. These sponsors aren't going to see as much. Like, I couldn't name them because there's so many. If there was 8, I would be able to name the sponsors. But there's just so many. So I said, even if there are 4 or 8 games, like the sponsors would have maybe like a more recognizable place and be more memorable. But teams that are barely over 500 are playing, and sometimes in these half-empty stadiums. So you have to wonder, like, are these brands going to get, the return that they are hoping for? Or is it kind of, I don't know, should they lower their expectations?
Yeah.
Right.
I think they just pray for a good game because, like, when it's on ESPN, those are the games that get ran the most. And, like, that's probably the best marketing you can have. It's Scott Van Pelt or Lisa Salters talking about, hey, the Little Caesars Bowl went into 3 overtimes. Little Caesars Bowl, Little Caesars Bowl, Little Caesars Bowl. Right. And just in your head, Little Caesars.
There are a few, like we said, Rose Bowl kind of stands on its own. But I will say I did recognize a few. The Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, the New Era Pinstripe Bowl, and then, of course, Duke's Mayo Bowl. And mostly,
why do I know that?
Because, I said mostly because I follow University of Wisconsin and University of Iowa football, just because I attended those schools and those are my schools. So I follow them and they've been to those bowl games before. So I would say that's why I recognize them. But I think other people also, Duke's Mayo, that's just iconic. I'm playing in the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Yeah, and they probably got to eat mayo after the game.
Oh, yeah.
By the gallon.
By the gallon.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Mayo fan.
Big Mayo fan.
Big Mayo fan.
This topic, though, actually made me do kind of like a deep dive into past bowl game names, and there were some really funny ones. My honorable mention past bowl game names are 2017, the Cherry Bundy Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl. What?
Crazy.
Imagine that on a t-shirt. Like, that is so funny.
Definitely got to use the...
How did the announcers do that?
Yeah, right.
What's the...
You're watching.
What is it called again?
The Cherry Bundy Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl.
CBT. They have to do that. There's no way they...
Yeah. There also in 2017 was the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl.
What?
I like that one.
Bad Boy Mowers.
I feel like they might have made a rule, like a cap on how many words it can be. They're like, and then 2021, Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Like, how cute would that be? Imagine the logo, Tony the Tiger with like a sun.
Yeah.
They're great.
Oh, they're great. So fun. But yeah, so some pretty funny names, and definitely they stick with you if you pay attention.
That's what I feel like the next step, like be celebrity sponsored. Like have a celebrity sponsor, like Duke's Mayo Drake's Bowl.
That is kind of true. Like, without maybe, I know they don't have, bowl games don't have the budget that the Super Bowl does, but like how to bring in more viewership. Because I was looking at that. It was part of my research. And in 2021, the 31 bowl games, excluding the New Year's 6, averaged 2.57 million viewers. I compared that then to 2020, and that was a 12% increase. However, there are only 28 games that year. Compared to 2019, so a more normal year, that was a 9% decrease in viewership. So it's kind of been fluctuating. Obviously, COVID. It's hard to know like when are we technically back to normal? I don't know, but it's fluctuating, and I don't think we're really seeing an increase. So now that there are that many more games, I think viewership is going to be an important focus, and like you said, maybe a celebrity or something else is gonna have to happen to bring more viewers.
Yeah, you're right about that. Hopefully Fifth Color might sponsor a bowl one day.
I love that idea. I would be a key player in that. All right, coming soon, 2023.
The Fifth Color Bowl.
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah.
Howards Grove, Wisconsin.
Yeah, right.
Howards Grove.
Be there or be circle. You guys aren't prepared for this, so it's going to be fun. I'm going to start with you, Megan.
Okay.
If you were anywhere in the world and you were very uncomfortable, what brand could you see that would make you feel like you're home or that you're comfortable?
Okay, so I have two different. If I were to if I was talking product, I would have to say a Starbucks coffee because
who could have guessed?
I know.
that?
Yeah, seriously.
It's like just the first sip, and I'm like, okay, everything will be fine. Like it's immediate, just like through my veins. Just we're good. Like
Okay,
I'm fine.
okay.
But if we're talking, so yeah, product wise, my little Starbucks coffee, like for sure. Brand wise, I would say like if I was lost and I was like, I'm so scared right now, I don't know where I am, and I turn and I see a Quick Trip. Honey, I'm home. I would run straight to the desk and ask for the workers. I was there this morning, just stopping up. I had to get gas on my way to work. You guys, all the workers are like these like a little bit older like moms that just oh honey, like what can I help you with? Like they're just so, it's home
Comforting.
yeah.
They get me with that see you next time.
I know
time.
and I like, yeah, you will, you sure will.
Damn, you get me. I will be back. You're all right.
Yeah.
Those donuts are mine.
Yeah.
Ashley, what about you?
Oh, that's tough for me. I feel like I get really bad travel anxiety if I don't know like the different vehicles of transportation that I'm taking. So like I was in Mexico this past summer, and we went on this excursion, and we took this bus, and we had no idea where we were going. We had no internet, nothing. So I think if I recognize any kind of internet provider that would be able to connect me.
You're so logical. I'm like, coffee. You're like internet.
Like that would have given me so much peace to be like, oh, here we are, even though I have no idea where we are.
Yeah.
But like we're at least heading somewhere that I kind of know.
I feel like we're similar that way. Like our knowledge is power. Like as long as we can be as long as we know what's going on, we're fine.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Cause we were in this bus. We were supposed to be in this bus for like an hour, right? It was 3 hours, and we're like,
oh,
where are we going?
Yeah. Yeah.
No idea where we're going.
Right. Probably like car sick too.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yep.
Just drive to the avocado farm.
Yeah. Take me to the avocados.
Yes.
I didn't know we couldn't grow avocados here in Mexico. I mean, in America. Sorry, we aren't in Mexico. We're in Wisconsin.
It'd be nice if we were though.
Yeah.
It would be nice. Yep. So yeah, like if I saw Cellcom or really any internet provider, I'd be like, yes.
Very
I love
logical.
that.
Wow, it makes
Really
my
logical.
answer seem
I
like
know,
super,
mine
super
too.
crazy.
What can I answer again? Okay, what is your what's your?
Mine is Little Caesars. When I
way.
So when I first moved to when I graduated college, I had like a 2005 Pontiac Grand Am, about like $2,000 to my name. It was either move back to Charlotte or Pontiac, Michigan, or start my life on my own with these like $2,000 in earnings. Like only one job offer. It was like $19 an hour, and I was just like, yeah, let's go to Milwaukee. So I moved to like the Lower East Side, and I'm just lost because the majority of people around there go to the school. They go to UWM, and you know they're all on their track, and I'm leaving and go to work every day. So I'm like, man, it's just so uncomfortable here. And I was just driving back from work one day, and I saw Little Caesars, and I said, damn, you can do this life thing. I went in there. Grabbed a couple
you'll get
slices.
through, buddy.
It made me feel good. It was just like, man, 'cause I'm going around, I'm seeing, at the time there was like a Blaze Pizza. I've never seen a Blaze Pizza. I'm usually a Walgreens guy. There was a CVS. So there's all these stores. I guess more of these stores that were making me uncomfortable because it made me seem like I was in such a foreign place. I'm like, man, what the heck is a CVS? I'm so used to Walgreens. Like, what is Blade's Pizza? Like, all these stores. And then I just see a Little Caesars, and I'm like, yeah. And you know it's a good Little Caesars when it has the glass window, the bulletproof window. Oh, the pizza's going to be good.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Stop at your local Little Caesars. Toodles.